There are a lot of things to discover on the Nothing Phone 1, and today I will share with you some tips and tricks, and of course I tested the camera as well during the night and by day, so make sure to stick around until the end of the video, and without further ado, let's get started. As for tip number 1, let's start with some navigation on this phone. So if you open up the system settings and head over to the gestures, we can click on system navigation. With this feature, you can swap between the 3-button navigation that most of us are used to, or you can change it up to the gesture navigation. With this one, you can swipe left or right to go back, or swipe up and hold to get to your recently opened apps. Next up, we have one of the main features of the smartphone, and that's the Glyph backlight. Over in the Glyph interface, we can first up decide how bright this light should be. We can change up to 10 different ringtones that will interact with your backlight to give you somewhat of a small light show. Another thing is that the light can act like a battery charging meter, or you can even toggle a feature on that turns on the D&D mode once you put your smartphone upside down on the table. The Nothing Phone is also perfect for older people and for people with a bad eyesight. By long pressing on a photo, you get the option to enlarge it to make it look huge, and you can drag it into another place on your display. But you can also just long press on your home screen, click on customization and look for the wallpaper and style. Right here you can first up change the wallpaper colors, which basically change the whole display into a certain color. But over here you can also change your app grid layout. By default it is set to 4x5, but you can change it to 5x5 to see way more apps, and you have a better overview of everything. Now again, by long pressing the home screen, you can click on widgets. Right here you will find all of your apps, and in order to not look for every single app, you can drag a whole window of a certain app to your home screen for a quick access. Another short one which you should really consider doing is to adjust your quick panel. By swiping down you will get right to it, then click on the edit button, and now you can edit way more shortcuts like your calculator, bedtime mode, or your wallet. By the way, like this you can also rearrange all of your apps. Now I have 2 more features for you guys, and the first thing is that you can even enable an always on display mode on your smartphone. In order to do so, head over into your settings, click on display, now click on lock screen and toggle on the always show basic info feature. By default this one is turned off, but now you get to see all of your infos without having to unlock your phone. And as for last, if you go to your recently opened apps and click on the settings icon, you have 2 options. First, the pop-up view. This one creates another floating window on your main screen. Like this, you can basically work on 2 apps at the same time. And the other one is the split screen. Once you tap it, you can choose a second app that you want to have on your display. Alright, now that we got all the tips and tricks out of the way, let's check out the camera. So I got for you a bunch of videos and pictures so you can see and get a feel for the camera, how well the pictures are looking like, how good the cameras are, the back camera and the front camera. So let's get started. Okay, next up, let's check out the main camera. Now, right now I'm recording in 1080p with 60 frames per second, but you can also trim that down to 30 frames. Or if you want to, you can even record in 720p or in 4K. But I will show you that in a second. So this right now is now the 4K camera with 30 frames per second. You cannot upgrade that to 60 frames, so that is what you are stuck with. And now, as well as just for reference, I'm recording now in 720p with 60 frames per second. And there is really not that big of a difference. You definitely see it in the colors a little bit in the background, and that is not as sharp as with 1080p, but it definitely looks good as well. So I'm testing the internal stabilization, so I've got it turned off right now, and I'm walking pretty normally right now. And it's not even shaking that much. So let's see when I turn it on. So I got the stabilization turned on now, and I'm still walking normally. And you do already see a bit of a difference. I'm trying to keep my hand as still as possible, but it seems that it's working all right. So let's see what happens if I'm jogging a little bit. So let me turn around. Now that's almost running. Okay, so that's how it looks like. Let's see it if I turn the stabilization off. Okay, stabilization is turned off, and let's see how it works if I'm running. Now I do trying to keep my hand as still as possible, and yeah, that's how it looks like. Okay guys, I now have a whole bunch of pictures for you. I'm leaving this for most of the time uncommented. I have some normal shots, some portrait modes, some selfie cam, portrait pictures, and I took some with the ultra wide and with some really close up. So just enjoy it. Alright, so this is the recording from the Nothing Phone 1 selfies camera. So this one is only recording in 1080p with a frame rate of 30 frames per second. So if I'm standing still, it's all a little bit blurry as far as I can tell right now, but I think it's acceptable. So this is me recording in 1080p with 60 frames per second without the HDR. So this is now me recording at nighttime in a 1080p with 30 frames per second, and I have the HDR toggled on since it doesn't work with 60 frames, so that's all you get. Now I'm trying to record myself, but this flashlight is so bright that I can barely see anything. But that's how it looks when I'm using the front camera, well the back camera, and I'm taking videos in 1080p with 60 frames per second. And that's how it looks when I'm using the main camera without the flashlight. And you definitely see there is a huge difference right here. Okay guys, we're doing the same trick as with the daytime pictures. So I took some portrait mode, some with the flash and without the flash. I took some with the ultra wide, with the HDR, and without. So let's enjoy it. And guys, that's already it for today. If you like that kind of video, make sure to show me a little bit of your love and click the like button and subscribe to my channel. And with that being said, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace.